All right, we are live. Welcome. Hello, good morning, everyone. I am simulcasting right now on Facebook Live and Instagram Live as well. And so if you see me looking at two different areas, that is why. But welcome. My name is Janelle Alexandra, and I am the certified life purpose coach behind Life Designer University. Life Designer University is an online coaching practice and university where we focus on coaching, educating, and equipping women to uncover their God-given purpose, clarify their calling, and to achieve their goals so that they can finally design a life that they and God love. So we offer everything from private coaching to group coaching to online classes and courses, but everything is designed with your purpose in mind and giving you the coaching and education and the tools needed to carry out that calling. So I'm super excited for today's live. If y'all have been following along on the blog or on social media for the past few weeks, you know that it is back to school season at Life Designer University, which is one of my favorite seasons of the year. I've always said that this is the perfect time of year to really have a fresh start. This time of year kind of reminds me of almost like a pregame or a preseason to the new year. And so it's like that final push or hurrah to really make sure that you're ending this year strong. And so we're talking about that all month long. So last week we talked about rest and the importance of that to finishing your year strong, and really just, beyond even finishing the year strong, rest really restores you and refreshes you to finish the work that God has called you to do. So if you've been experiencing like any type of burnout or, just you're discouraged, and you're tired, it may be time to take a rest. One of the scriptures we talked about last week was Matthew 11, chapter 11, verses 28 through 29, where the Lord is saying, are you tired? Are you worn out? Are you burnt out on religion? Come away with me and I'll show you how to take a real rest. See how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. And I absolutely love that scripture. And so that's what we talked about last week, and how that rest really gives you the energy to come back strong and to finish out the work that the Lord is calling you to do and press on to the prize. And this week, we are talking about goals and how you can refresh them. So I sent out a newsletter yesterday talking about how you can refresh your goals, but we did a goal check-in. And so you want to make sure that if you're not on the newsletter list, that you do sign up, and you can do that by just going to the website, or if you're over on Instagram, you can actually click over to a link in the profile, and there's a link so you can sign up and subscribe. And so yesterday, I had sent out a newsletter. I'm sending out a goal check-in just so you can take a pulse of where you stand right now in your goals. So I want you to think about that. Where are you? Are you in a place where, maybe the year just didn't go as planned for whatever reason, whether it was due to life things that happened, or to be honest, you just got lazy, which that happens sometimes. And, because we have not solidified new habits, it can be easy to fall off the bandwagon unless you're consistently cultivating those habits that help you to accomplish your goals, right? And so maybe you're in that place where you're okay, I have not been consistent. I have not been disciplined in my goals. And, now we're more than halfway through the year. We're in August, and, basically the year is, I don't want to say the year is over, because there's definitely still time, but now that we're in this season, I feel like once holiday season kicks in, which is not too long from now, it's it can be easy to get caught in the whirlwind of the holidays and that chaos that's associated with that, to the point where you're just whatever, New Year's is around the corner, so I'm just going to roll my goals over to the new year. And I want to make sure and challenge you to not do that. There's still time left to make sure that you are pursuing what matters to you, and that you are ending the year strong. And so we're going to talk about today refreshing your goals. But before we do, I really want to talk about how we can recommit to our goals. And so if you see me looking down over here, it's because I have my notes so I can make sure that I don't miss anything. But before we can really refresh our goals and start afresh and start pursuing those things, we want to make sure that we are reestablishing our commitment to it. If we're not committed to our goals, we're less likely to actually accomplish them. And I mean, that makes sense because we don't have any stake in the game. If we're just saying, oh, well, that would be nice to do, like, dreams and aspirations aren't goals, right? They become goals when you decide to take action and to give them deadlines, and you are constantly taking action to achieve them, right? And so we want to make sure that we are recommitted to those goals. So before we talk about how we can refresh those goals, let's talk about how we can recommit ourselves to them. So the first thing you want to do is you want to acknowledge where you are, right? So I just want you to take inventory of where you are right now in your life. If you are in a place where you have been lazy, you have fallen off, or even if just life happens sometimes, family things can occur, things with work. There's always the unexpected that can come about, right? And so just acknowledge where you are first. And then from there, I want you to own where you are. So after you acknowledge, okay, like this is the situation I am in, I want you to own the decisions that you have made so far up until this point, because the truth is that we have to be honest with ourselves, right? There's no need to sugarcoat anything. There's no need to coddle yourself. There's no need to make excuses. If you have intentionally not focused on your goals, or you've intentionally been watching Netflix, or you've been tired after work, which I mean, tiredness is a real thing, but some of us aren't really tired. We're just using that as an avoidance mechanism to keep us from focusing on the things that we know that we should be doing and the things that the Lord is calling us to do, right? And so if you're in that place where you have been making excuses as to why you can't pursue your goals, or as to why you can't take action, or because of the environment or conditions are not in the best place for you to pursue these goals, I want you to own your personal decisions right now and take personal ownership and responsibility of your life and where you are right now, okay? This is key in order to move forward, because if you feel sorry for yourself, if you're making excuses for yourself, whatever story that you're telling yourself, you start to believe, right? And therefore, if you're telling yourself the story of you can't do this, or this is why this is not happening for you because of external things or internal things, whatever it is, if you're making excuses, you're not going to be able to move forward, because you're going to tell yourself a story and your brain is going to naturally search for evidence to confirm that story is true, right? And so that's how we get into this habit of, or really the spiral of self-sabotage, when we don't take personal ownership for our life. Be honest with yourself. Like, yeah, you know what? I haven't been consistent. I have been missing these dates or these deadlines, or I have been missing these appointments with myself, or, I haven't been as serious as I would like to be. Just be real with yourself. And it's okay to do that, and it's okay to be where you are. But what's not okay is for you to keep on making excuses and keep on going around the same circle and cycle that's going to keep you stuck and stagnant in your purpose, calling, and goals, right? And so I want you to take personal ownership and be like, yes, this is my mess, or yes, this is my situation. Yes, these are my decisions, and I'm going to use that as fodder and fuel to move forward, instead of shame and guilt myself and create excuses for myself that are going to keep me stuck, okay? So number one, to really make sure that you are recommitting to your goals, you want to acknowledge where you are. Then we just talked about taking ownership. And thirdly, you want to make a decision. Okay, before we make a commitment, we have to decide to commit, right? Just like you decide that you're committed to receiving that paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, you're going to make the commitment to go to work and to be on time and to do your work so you can get that check. Like, I need you to show up with that same commitment to your work, if not more, to your goals, right? So I want you to make a decision that I'm not going to be led by my feelings, because how many of us know that feelings are fickle, right? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a very emotional person. And so therefore, there will be days when I wake up and I'm just like not feeling it, or I'm just tired. Like today, like I had a late work night where I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and I am not a night owl. I am a morning person. And so therefore, my brain low-key shuts off, actually high-key shuts off, in the wee hours in the night. I turn into a grandma. I'm tired, and my eyes hurt right now. And I still have a lot of work to do, but because I am committed to showing up weekly for these lives, although I was tired and didn't get the rest that I needed, I was like, oh, well, like I'm just going to be tired. And so I got up, put my makeup on, made my coffee, and, made my way here because I made a decision that I was going to be committed to cultivating this community, to pouring into you all. And so I'm here right now. And so I need you to decide that you are going to show up for your goals, and honestly just show up for yourself. If you don't show up for anything else, show you up for yourself. A lot of us are in a place where we feel unqualified, or we feel like we can't finish our goals because we have a track record of not sticking to those goals in the past. And that is something where you don't have to continue on with that identity, like, oh, like I'm a person who doesn't finish things. Again, the story that you tell yourself matters. So if you're telling yourself that I'm a person that can never finish what she starts, or I'm a person that never accomplishes anything, then you're going to go and seek evidence to confirm that story. And that's how self-sabotage occurs. And so instead of continuing on with these stories and excuses, this is where the lack of sleep comes on, right? But those excuses, we're going to make a decision to not be led by the stories that we tell ourselves or the feelings that we feel, and we're going to decide to commit. So that means through hell, high water, rain, storm, feelings, whatever, that you're going to push through by the grace of the Holy Spirit. Because at the end of the day, we can't do it in our own strength. We are human. I love self-help, but the thing is, we can only help ourselves so much, right? And so I'm talking about owning your part and doing what you can, and letting the Holy Spirit do the rest, right? Letting His grace and strength be sufficient for you in those weaknesses. When you do feel like the feelings are taking over, when you do feel like you can't make it or you can't go on, like I feel this way, but by the grace of God and by faith, I'm going to show up, be committed, and do the work, okay? And so you really want to make sure that you make a decision to commit. Okay, fourthly, you need to find accountability. Research says that we are 95% more likely to achieve a goal when we have, actually 65% more likely to achieve a goal when we write it down and we have accountability, and we're 95% more likely to make it happen when we are having regular meetings with that accountability person, right? And so let's talk about accountability, because there are a couple caveats to accountability. Number one, you want to make sure that you are finding the right person who can hold you accountable. Because if that friend is going to be in a similar place as you, to the point where they're not committed to their goals, or they're making excuses as well, you don't want to find somebody who's going to coddle you or allow those excuses to fly by. Like, no, you want to find somebody who is invested in you, invested in your progress. They want to see you win, and they're going to remind you of the things that you said that you were going to do. And so therefore, everybody and their mama cannot be sitting here holding you accountable. So you want to find somebody, whether it's a trusted friend. Like I have a friend, she's like, we call each other like our work wives, and we don't work together, but we do life together, and like we know each other's goals, we know where we are in each other's life, and we're always like going back to hold each other accountable. And we use like the power sheets, which is a goal setting planner, and we're like, okay, did you do your power sheets? Like, where are you at right now? And so because that friend is also goal minded and purpose driven like me, therefore I can use her as accountability. But I have other friends who are not as ambitious, and that's okay. But I know that I'm not going to expect them to hold me accountable, or I'm not going to tell them necessarily what I'm working on, because they're not going to be reminding me of those things like the other friend would. And so find a friend like that. Excuse me. If not, if you don't have a friend, find a mentor. Mentors are usually, and I hope they would be, invested in you. And so I have a mentee myself that, you know, me and her, we do life together as well. And I'm always challenging her. I'm like, hey, remember, like, this is what you said, like, this is not your portion, but this is your portion, you know, like these are the things that you committed to. So like, how are you incorporating that into your daily life, your daily routines? Like, and so I hold her accountable with that. I have the mentors who hold me accountable, saying, hey, like, girl, I remember you said you set these goals, like what's going on with that? And then they're in a place where they can also mentor me from a place of experience. And so sometimes it's helpful to find somebody who is necessarily not at your age group, or they're not a friend, but they have more years of experience and wisdom, so they can support you, hold you accountable, but also give you wisdom from a place of experience and love, right? So a mentor is great. Also hiring a coach. And this is going to be a shameless plug for me and Life Design University. But the thing about coaches is that, you know, while counseling focuses on the past, coaching is all about helping you to move forward. And so we not only give you strategy, but we empower you by giving you strategies based on where you are. I will never tell you like, oh, you need to do this, right? That is what mentoring is, like telling you things to do. I'm not in a place where I'm mentoring you, but I'm empowering you by asking you questions to help you to derive to your own answers. And then we're going to create a plan based on that. And then I'm there to hold you accountable to that plan, right? And so we're setting the goals, we're creating the action steps, and then we're meeting bi-weekly. Remember, meeting with accountability on a regular basis increases your chances of reaching a goal by 95%. So we're meeting bi-weekly over the course of months, because how many of us know that, you know, most transformations don't happen in a week or even a month, right? It takes time to rewrite patterns and thought patterns and break strongholds and things like that will help you to set you up for success, right? And so we meet over the course of months every other week, so I can hold you accountable and we can work toward these goals. So you just want to find accountability that's going to remind you of what you said, and it's also going to enforce what you said, and to make those things happen. Okay, so we talked about recommitting to your goals by acknowledging where you are, owning where you are, so taking ownership or responsibility of your life and your situation and your goals. And we talked about how you have to make a decision in order to commit and to be committed to the process and be committed to your goals. Then you need to find accountability to make sure that you make those goals happen. And then after that, it all goes back to just doing the work, y'all. I think we live in I know that we live in this whole microwave culture where, you know, you see something, you want something, and it's supposed to happen overnight, or it's supposed to come easy, but that's not real and that's not biblical, number one. And so we have to understand that, yes, the Lord gives us these desires, he gives us these dreams, and he gives us these goals, but we do have to take action and do the work. Like, even with the Israelites, the Lord had set aside this promise for them, right? He set aside the promised land, but they had to possess the promised land. Even when there was the giants in there, those giants represent challenges. So there's going to be challenges associated with the promise, associated with the goals, associated with the dreams and the desires that God has given you. And he has already qualified us and prepared us to be in that promise, but that doesn't mean that we are we don't have to experience challenges along the way, or that we're exempt from challenges. No, he has given us the power and the authority to possess that promise by conquering those challenges, right? And so conquering that looks like doing the work and figuring it out, and being diligent and pressing on toward the prize, and continuing to read your mind, continue to go back to the drawing board, continue to take action. And so you have to do the work. You cannot expect results unless you do the work. So if you're saying, oh, I want to lose weight, or oh, I want to start this business or ministry, or oh, I want to go back to school, or oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and doing the work that's necessary in order to see your desired results. Okay, so that's how it works, right? And so once we've done all those things and we have recommitted to our goals, now it's time to refresh those goals. And so this is what I shared in yesterday's blog post. You can find that by going to lifedesigneru.com/blog. It's the first one that pops up if you're reviewing it or if you're reading it this week, but it is on there. And so from there, after you've recommitted to your goals, now it's time for you to refresh them. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to review your goals. So I want you to go back to the very beginning of the year when you first started your goals, when you first set them, and I want you to look at them and see, okay, what goals did I set? Where was I at when I set those goals? So you want to make sure that you're going back, because going back helps you to move forward, right? And so go back and review your goals. And then number two, you want to assess the progress that you have made. You may not have made the progress that you thought you would make, but you've made some type of progress for the most part, right? Unless you just totally just didn't do anything at all. But for the most part, most of us have done something. And so although you're not where you want to be right now, don't discount the progress that you've already made, okay? So assess that progress and celebrate it. Celebrate what you did accomplish, because honestly, that's more than what you did before. So assess your progress and know where you stand. And then from there, because you might be in a place where dang, I'm discouraged or I'm disappointed in myself. And it's okay to feel those feelings, but you don't want to stay there. You don't want to wallow in self-pity and be in this place where you are so consumed by feelings of guilt, shame, that you're forget it. Why even bother? No, you want to review those goals and you want to assess them, but you want to do it from a place of self-love and compassion, right? So you can be empowered to continue on and move forward. So assess your progress, and from there, I want you to reconnect to your why. So why did you start in the first place? Why did you set these goals? Why did they matter to you? Why do you want to accomplish them? What is the impact, influence that it will have on yourself or the lives of those around you who would be impacted by you accomplishing this goal? It's by tethering and connecting to your why that fuels you to move forward. Because honestly, there are days I don't feel like doing what I'm doing. I get tired, I get discouraged easily, and I'm like, Lord, what's the point of continuing on in this? Or what's the point of, finishing this work that you've given to me? And it's because I remember my why. I remember that the reason why I'm doing it, actually I have a multifaceted why, but one of the reasons is that I want to make sure that every woman knows and walks in the fullness of her God-given purpose, because it is life-changing when you know the reason why you are here, you know what you're called to do, and you know the action steps it takes, so you can be walking in that and aligning yourself with God's promises in perfect will for your life. There's nothing like knowing that. And so I'm reminded of that when I do feel dang, nobody's listening, or, Lord, I'm tired, or it's hard. I'm reminded that, I have a mission that is a part of God's mission, right? My unique purpose fits into his plan of of restoration and reuniting his kingdom, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I was sad, I was disappointed, but now it's time to get back to work, right? I'm also thinking about the legacy that I want to leave in other people's lives, and then my life, and and my family. And so therefore, when I'm tired or when I'm discouraged or when I'm just over it, I can be reminded of my why, and I can keep on going. So I want you to reconnect your why and tether your goals to it. The fourth thing I want you to do is to determine your focus. So now that you've reviewed your goals, you've assessed your progress, and you reconnected to your why, determine your focus. Okay, now if your focus is dispersed in like all these different areas, there's a saying that is where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? And so if you're focused on 50 million different things and your energy is being dispersed in all these 50 different areas, you are not seeing any momentum in any area because you're depleting yourself, right? You're depleting your energy, you're exhausted, you're running around, you're not seeing progress or momentum in one area because you're focused on too many things. And so I want you to kind of like decide, like I want you to like review your goals and, decide which like 1 to 3 goals that you want to focus on for the remainder of the year. You don't need to be doing all the things. Like I want us to really understand that purpose does not look like being Superwoman. Like you don't have to do everything. You're not designed to do everything, right? And so focus on 1 to 3 areas where you can focus on for the remaining of the year, and you know that you can, like if you put your mind to it, that you can finish that goal and finish out the year strong. So once you determine your focus and you've done all those things, now it's time to refresh your goals. So if your goals need to be tweaked and adjusted there, from there based on either the season that you're in, or maybe some of the methods or the action steps that you're taking weren't necessarily aligned with this goal, or you find that they weren't working, it's okay to readjust your goals, refresh them. Some goals worked well for another season and they're not going to apply to this one. And it's okay to cross them out, or it's okay to table some of those goals and be like, okay, I thought that I was going to have the capacity to work on this goal, but the reality is that I have too much going on right now. This is not to say that I'm quitting, or this is not to say that this goal isn't important to me right now, but it's just not a priority for me in this season. And that's okay, right? And so just put it away for safekeeping, like file that in your like mental file cabinet or in an actual like notebook, and just focus on the things that are going to really bring about what you want to see in your life right now, and refresh them from that place. Okay, so if you are just joining us, we've been talking about recommitting to your goals and how you can do that. And so we talked about, you want to acknowledge where you are, you want to take personal ownership or responsibility for your life, and you want to make a decision to commit to your goals regardless of how you feel. And then from there, finding the accountability to make sure that you are going to stick to these goals and make them happen, and then doing the work. And once you are able to recommit to your goals, then you can refresh them. So you can refresh them by reviewing your goals and going back to the beginning, then assessing the progress that you've made in those areas, or the lack of progress, right? And then reconnecting to your why, because it is your why that's going to fuel you forward in your purpose, calling, and goals. And then once you know what that why is, you can determine your focus, and you're not going to be focusing on all the things, but focusing on 1, 2, 3 important things that you know that you can finish and accomplish by the end of the year, and then refreshing your goals based on those findings. So pivoting, readjusting, refreshing, whatever you have to do to make sure that you are finishing the year strong. Okay, so that is all for today's live. I would love to get your feedback, so make sure that you leave me a comment telling me one thing that you took away from today's live. And I also want to invite you to go deeper in what we talked about today. And so I have the blog that I've written to accompany this live, but there's also a free lifestyle guide that I created this month to give you personal growth and development tips, but also coaching questions so you can coach yourself, so you can refresh and reset your focus so you can finish the year strong. And if you want to take it another step further, I'm actually hosting the Refresh, Reset, Refocus workshop on Saturday, August 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be a good time because we're going to be talking about these things on a deeper level. So I'm going to be walking you through live goal coaching and goal setting exercises that I use with my private coaching clients. And so it's going to be almost like a small group format, but online. And so you can join us from anywhere in the world as long as you have a computer and Wi-Fi, obviously, or like a tablet or a device. But we're going to chat and do this workshop in a small group format, work with one another to develop these goals and create an action plan for the end of the year. I'm also going to be walking you through redesigning your rhythms and routines to increase productivity and really maximize your momentum so you can finish the year strong. And so that workshop is only $29 for a ticket. It's super duper cheap. And so if you've been wanting to work with me or you've been wondering what it looks like to walk through the coaching process, this is the perfect time to hop on this offer because it's the end of the year. Like I said, we want to make sure that we're making the rest of these months count. And so I would love to see you in the Refresh, Reset, Refocus workshop. And so you can actually register for that by going to bit.ly/reset workshop. Or if you're on Instagram, you can click over to the link in the bio, and that link is in there. And I'm going to also put it in the caption over here on Facebook Live. Okay, so that is all for now. If y'all have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I absolutely love answering your questions. You can always send me a message on Facebook or a DM on Instagram, or you can even email me at janelle@lifedesigneru.com. Okay, so that is all for now, y'all. I pray that y'all have a wonderful Tuesday and that y'all enjoy the rest of your week, and it's a purposeful one and productive one. Okay, bye for now.